Hi, I'm Max Lindblad, and you're listening to Inside Position.
Hey Max, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to see you again.
The first thing that kind of came to my mind was actually thinking back to the episode I did with Craig, and he mentioned about being disappointed that he got bronze in the World Pro at brown belt and that Dante was trying to cheer him up on the podium, saying that, oh, look where you are. You're on a podium full of international guys, Australian, Canadian, and a Swedish fella. And turns out you were
Yeah.
the Swedish fella. So I was kind of wondering what the backstory was to winning that tournament. It must have been one of the biggest ones of your career at that time.
I think it's the biggest of all of my career still. There were so many guys in the bracket. I just had like the perfect day. You shouldn't say like the finals with Dante was easy, but I feel like I really performed and like everything went way all
Yeah.
through the tournament.
Yeah. And were you expecting to win it?
Yeah, I always feel like I have a chance on the gold though.
And did it do anything for you afterwards? Did you feel like, okay, now I'm kind of in this jiu-jitsu thing for life? Or like, did it change your goals?
No, already like dedicated my life to jiu-jitsu, and that was like a result of it. So I wouldn't say it changed anything. That year, I made a comeback from because the year before, I think it was the year before, I ripped my bicep on my left arm. So it was like a comeback year for me to jiu-jitsu. I ripped my left biceps. So it completely tore off, and I had to make it like a surgery to get it back. So big win after coming back.
Did you have to change your game much coming back from that?
More changed my lifestyle. Tried to enjoy life more because I was out for a while, and I figured that I only been doing jiu-jitsu for the couple of last years, and I realized that you actually need friends and you need to take care of your family and stuff like this. So I think actually ripping my bicep was one of the things that kept me in the sport.
That's crazy, actually, because that's one of the things that comes against me. I kind of get in my head that, okay, I'm at a certain level now, and if I want to win ADCC in these biggest tournaments in the world, I have to try to be the best in the world. Stop trying to be the best in the world and just fucking be the best in the like. Just do what you're gonna do, and it'll happen or not. So I think trying to enjoy life is definitely one of the more difficult things sometimes. Always trying to be better, but so you feel like that was a blessing in disguise, nearly.
Not when I had it, but now in retrospective, is that the word? Look back at it,
Yeah.
it for sure helped me with the mindset and everything and how to approach life and stuff. Like when you're younger, people always tell you you're gonna realize when you get older. You're gonna understand when you get older. And now I'm understanding what everybody was telling me, that you need to sometimes relax, have a beer, enjoy everything. It's not just about the training.
And so going back to when you first started jiu-jitsu back in Stockholm, how was the scene back then?
It was small in Sweden when I started. I think we had 6 black belts in total in Sweden.
And so how did you know you wanted to pursue it then if you probably didn't have that many people around you that were professional competitors or making money from jiu-jitsu? How did you get the feeling and the idea that this is for me?
I actually don't really remember the process. I was in like a chiropractor school. I don't really remember like the reason I want to do this for the rest of my life, but it was something like if I don't do this now, I'm never gonna have the chance to do it again. So I just dropped out of a chiropractor school and I just went for it. I don't really remember like it wasn't like I had a good plan or something. I just acted on like a gut feeling or whatever it was.
That's kind of similar to my story actually as well. The jiu-jitsu was getting in the way of the college and the college was getting in the way of jiu-jitsu. And I think it was actually, I heard Dara O'Connell, I heard him saying that he just wants to train every day. And I was like, geez, that's what I want. So I kind of gave up the school and I was like, I'll keep doing this as much as I can and see where it goes. And
yeah, that was basically it. Like jiu-jitsu was the funniest thing I ever done, and like it gave a sense of purpose to my life. So it wasn't more than that, you know. Like in the beginning, I wasn't even thinking about like winning world medals or something. I just wanted to train, but that came after a while, you know, after doing like the small local tournaments and everything.
and did you get any pushback from like parents or friends or anything?
Obviously my parents weren't too happy of me dropping school to like a sport nobody ever heard about, but like my friends didn't get it. They wanted to party and like having fun, and I was just in training. So eventually I lost basically all of my friends, and all the friends I have now is like the ones from I made through jiu-jitsu. But I guess it's like a normal process. People outside the sport doesn't realize any difference between like having a medal from the Europeans or like winning Scandinavian Open. So like as soon as like they saw pictures of me winning like a small competitions, my like everybody was cool.
My dad couldn't understand how, if I won, let's say, the Irish Open at blue belt, he couldn't understand how I didn't get my purple belt. He's like, "Oh, so you get your next belt now?" I was like, "No, no, no. I only just got my blue belt like a few months ago." He's like, "Oh, but you won the Irish. You're the best in Ireland." I'm like, "No, well, not really. Like, it's just I won my division on that day."
It's hard to explain for people that's outside how it really is, you know. And it's like, oh, when I won the Europeans in blue belt for the first time, it's like, oh, you're the best in Europe. It's like, no, not really. I won at the blue belt level, and oh, but you must be a superstar. No, nobody knows who I am.
And I had to pay €100 to enter the
Precisely,
tournament.
and I bought my own tickets and everything. Yeah.
But did you ever have any pressure or any ideas that you wanted to move to like a super team when you were coming up through the ranks, winning big tournaments at blue and purple belt or anything?
Yes. So I think when I was blue or purple belt, we have Michael Lange for a seminar in our gym, and he invited me to come train in at the Alliance headquarters in Sao Paulo, and I don't think he was serious with the invitation, but anyways, I took it as it was serious. So I went to Brazil, stayed there for 1 month, living inside his house, which was really cool. And I had the plan in my head that I'm gonna move to Sao Paulo to do my jiu-jitsu there and continue my journey. But like the same year, my old gym joined the Alliance team. We broke away from the Alliance gyms, so it was like a little bit of mess. So my dream like fell away, and my team joined Checkmat, so I couldn't go there. So and in my like I wanted to go train in Autos, but I remember why I didn't go there. So I had a lot of plans of like moving away and taking the next step, but then I injured my arm, and a lot of things came in the way.
Would you ever have any regrets looking back on it? Like, oh, I wish I just fucking went to Sao Paulo.
Yeah, when I look back at it, I wished I moved to. I think I wish
Mm.
I moved to Autos when I had the plan of doing.
That's probably when it was coming up, as like it probably wasn't the superpower that it is yet.
No, it wasn't fighting, but I lost to Rolando Samson in the World Finals in blue belt. So I was thinking like, yeah, I have to go there and like see how good everybody is and train with him. But it never came to that.
A lot of Europeans that I talk to, they come from like areas with a bit less jiu-jitsu, and I know myself as well. You always have in the back of the mind, like, should I just fucking go all in and move to America and do this? But then what kind of got it for me is I imagine my life over there. Let's say if I got injured and I had a few months, I'd be like, fuck, would I want to stay there, you know? But I've still been kind of struggling with it. Like, should I go to America and just go all in? And it's hard to figure out because you have a lot of the family and friends and everything at home. But
Like after my first trip to Brazil and training in Sao Paulo, and when I came home, I always had like good training partners and people picking me up, and I kind of realized that I'm not on the top level in the black belt division. I see myself being there, but on paper, I haven't really performed at that level yet. So, but I realized it was possible. So, I made a few trips. I trained like a week here and there, but I mainly done my training back home in Sweden. And the first trip to Brazil, in my mind, it made it possible to do it at home because they weren't doing anything special. Okay, people were better, but they weren't doing anything like magical. And and I realized it just comes down to hard work sometimes. And I always looked at the meta and I was training. There were a lot of like good guys, and I can make it back home. So that was I think also one of the things that didn't make me to move anywhere.
who would be people that had a big influence on your career back home? I know Finfu's been around Stockholm. I don't know if you've trained much with him throughout the years.
Yeah, obviously, Finfo, like the last few years, we've been training and having a good relationship. And I try to go at least one time a week to come train with him because we're similar size and always like had good training with him, and obviously he inspired me a lot. But one time a week training with somebody, you don't form that kind of relationship. But I always had like two twins inside, like one set of twins inside my gym called Jim and Daniel. They're probably not so known in the jiu-jitsu circuit today, but back in the days when we were coming up and a little bit before that, they were, I would say, like two of the top guys in Europe. They were on the mats all the time, and they're the ones like inspiring me the most, because I was always training with them, and they showed the like value of hard work to me. Like internet wasn't so big in YouTube and flow grappling back then, but Daniel beats some of really good guys. He beat Michael Lera in like the World Pro Finals in blue belt and stuff like this. So we always had like good level in my old gym.
Since you got your black belt, how have you found it adapting to competing at the black belt level?
I don't think there's so big differences between the belts, but when I look at the competitions and I look myself competing, we were the same guys in blue belt winning on like the highest level. We That was the same guys minus plus somebody in purple belt and the same in brown. The biggest change from brown to black is like you cannot make any mistakes. Like you cannot make like the small mistakes you were doing in blue and purple and brown belt even. Like in black belt, if you lose that advantage, it could lose you the fight. So obviously there's a difference, but it's like you cannot make any mistakes at black belt. That's what I found.
Where do you see the gi game going in the future? The last few years, it seems to be dominated by a lot of the different lapel guards.
I think it's impossible to say. Who could have seen like the lapel going to be a big thing? And who could see the berimbolo would be a big thing? And who could say like the 50-50 could be a big thing? As soon as one competitor like comes out and makes something really good, many of people like change into that game. And Kina maybe with the lapel, but if he would be doing something else, maybe the game would have been seen totally different.
The thing I always find funny with the gi is I imagine putting a few years into teaching, let's say, my students a lot of different lapel guards and all these tricks, and then the IBJJF just say, "Oh, it's getting a bit boring. We'll come out with a new rule. You're not allowed to grab the lapel like that." And I'm like, "Oh, the last few years I just wasted them." I'd nearly be afraid of putting time into something that could so easily be taken away with a little rule change.
That's always like one of the problems. Like imagine if ADC said we have so many knee injuries now, and they say, "Oh, you're not allowed to do heel hooks." I don't think you can think in that way. If it works, it works. And I think what separates jiu-jitsu from other grappling sports, for example, wrestling, that it's kind of MMA for grappling. You're allowed to do everything with certain kind of limits, and that's what jiu-jitsu is for me, at least. If you're allowed to do everything, so if it's regulated too much, it's not going to be jiu-jitsu anymore. So
You're right, actually. And I was explaining to someone the other day because the judo was on in the Olympics, and they were asking me like, "What's the difference between judo and jujitsu?" And I was nearly finding it hard to tell them the difference, but I was kind of saying jujitsu, you can just do everything. Judo has a lot of rules, and it's about takedowns, you know. And then I was saying like, I was just getting overly complicated with it. I was like, but actually, we use a lot of judo in jujitsu, and we use a lot of wrestling, and
you're allowed to do everything, and it's not as regulated, maybe as other grappling sports.
yeah.
Because as soon as you start watching wrestling, you don't understand the rules. Some, if you're not pushing forward, they go down in a referee's position, or like judo, you're not allowed to grip in a certain way. So
It kind of takes away from the purity of the sport.
jiu-jitsu is like the MMA of grappling. You're allowed to do everything.
That's a good way of thinking of it. I meant to ask you earlier as well, actually. Did you have any odd jobs coming up through the ranks, like going up through the belts?
Raising money has always been the issue, and I've done a lot of weird stuff. Everything from bouncing, taking care of old people, cleaning trash, everything, like all the weird stuff you can imagine yourself doing. But I got really lucky. I found I had a friend inside the gym that was working in a prison for kids, and he got me in there. And for the last like 6 years, I've only been doing that. So that's really good job for like training a lot.
How has that been? It sounds kind of an intense environment to be working in.
Yeah, and you get the use of you can use your jiu-jitsu, which is cool at work. No, but it's a really good work. Like most of the time it's just sitting watching TV, and once in a while it's
Yeah.
something happens, but it's a really cool job.
And is it hard seeing the young people be in trouble like that?
Yeah, it is. It drains you mentally, but if you want to have something, you need to sacrifice something else, right? So I had to sacrifice my friends to be able to do jiu-jitsu, and I had to maybe sacrifice a little bit of my mental health to be able to do jiu-jitsu now. So I'm not too. I'm happy with my situation. Of course, it's hard to see people like that, like especially kids inside a prison. They shouldn't be there.
It would probably toughen you up anyway, being around it, I'd say, or make you a bit cynical.
Maybe more cynical. I think one of the things when working with stuff like this is like you need to be aware of your thoughts. They can go some dark places if you don't keep them in check. It's like when you're sad, your mind can wander off in bad places, or when you're angry. So sometimes you just need to stop and bring your thoughts back into reality, because you can go so
Yeah.
far.
Jeez, that's crazy. Well, it's good to be. There's probably some positives to being exposed to stuff like that as well. You know, you get to explore those different ideas and be aware of them, you know, and then when they come up maybe in outside life, you're kind of more ready for them.
It makes you feel gratitude for what you have. We have clothes. We get to train jiu-jitsu. I get to eat 3 times a day. When you realize that many people don't even have that, they don't have any free time. They don't do anything they like to do. You get a sense of gratitude for where you are in life.
It happens to athletes a lot as well, I think. You're so upset that you're number 5 in the world instead of number 1 in the world, when really you have pretty much everything that you always wanted.
And you look at on the like social media, and oh, how good the guys are having in Puerto Rico, and they train all day on the beach, and then you forget that your life is pretty great as well. Like for my life, I only work two days a week, so 5 days a week I get to do what I like to do the most in the whole world. And even now, I'm inside the gym with my students here. He's resting before the evening training. So I'm truly blessed where I am in my life. So you stop and think, yeah.
And how has it been starting your own gym? Has it lived up to expectation? Has there been any problems that came up that you didn't foresee?
Yeah, way more work than I thought it would be. Like I had the expectation that it would be a lot of work, but it's way more work than I was expecting. But luckily, my wife's been with me during the whole process, and she does jiu-jitsu as well. So I'm not too good with like all the administration and stuff like that, but she basically took care of everything. So without her, it wouldn't been possible. But like with that said, it gone way better than we ever expected it to be. The gym has almost 200 members now. We have been around for 1 year, and during the most of the time we haven't let in new students because of the COVID situation. And we had to restrict the classes to not be too many people inside the gym at the same time. Even with that, we're almost 200 people now, and we have kids class. We're adding like youth classes and girl classes and everything. So it's going so well.
And what's the secret? Did people just know you around the area and everyone wanted to train with you when you opened?
I think it's a combination between like we're a lot of good instructors. Together with we try to have like a good atmosphere. Like in the morning we come in, we put on some reggae and we relax, and we try not to be rude at people, and try to remember everybody's name and just be cool. And when we train hard, but everything else we just try to be nice to people.
And has the extra responsibility taken anything away from your training, or has it added to it maybe even?
Yeah, I don't have as much time and energy to work on my own moves. Like a lot of the things, my jiu-jitsu is very specific, and a lot of the moves, like 90% of the moves I teach inside the gym, I don't even do myself. But I need my students need to know the moves. It gives me less energy to work on myself, but I think it's a good way as well. It forces you to learn. It forces you to think more than you did before. Before I could just focus on myself, and if I saw something I needed to improve for myself, I did that. But now I have a lot of people, and then when they ask questions about their game, I need to go home, think, and it's a constant evolution, trying to understand our sport. So I guess that is good.
What things do you have your eye on in the near future to do with maybe competition, coaching, anything in between?
We're not certain about how the competition is going to be this fall, but there's a lot of rumors. IBJF said they're going to have like the worlds and stuff. First, I want my team to become like the best team in the nationals. That would be great, and I think we have a really good chance because we have a lot of good people. And for myself, I want to compete just as much as I can. Still feel like I have a lot of things I want to perform at the highest level. Still, you know. Haven't medaled at any majors in the black belt, so I guess there's a big quest ahead of me.
Well, best of luck with it anyway. You definitely have the skill and everything to do it, so looking forward to seeing that in the near future.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. Big thanks to Max for coming on the show. It was cool to learn about his journey to the top ranks of the sport, as well as the really interesting but also difficult work that he does working in a prison for juveniles. Again, I'll leave a link as well in the description for anyone who wants to check out the fundraiser after Max's gym was burned down recently. Obviously, any help is appreciated with that. I hope everyone is enjoying the podcast, and if you do, it helps us a lot if you can share it with your friends and subscribe to avoid missing any episodes. We'll be back next week with another great guest. So until then, slán agus beannacht.